Film productions rarely happen without some kind of trouble, but The Last Boy Scout is one of the all-time record holders. Everyone involved in making it hated the process, even the extras. Today, we are taking a look at how such a great movie came out of such a disaster. Warner Bros. Did not expect any serious problems from this film. On paper, The Last Boy Scout looked like a golden child. The script was purchased for $1.7 million from Shane Black, who at the time was one of the most famous screenwriters in Hollywood, and who had recently delivered the massively successful Lethal Weapon. The lead role was played by Bruce Willis, a giant star at his peak. The producer was Joel Silver, the man behind Die Hard and Lethal Weapon. And the director was Tony Scott, who had just scored big hits with Top Gun and Beverly Hills Cop 2. What could possibly go wrong? According to assistant director James Scotchapole, who worked on The Last Boy Scout, the root of all chaos was a dangerous overdose of alpha males. There were simply too many of them in one place, all at the height of their fame. The chain reaction started with producer Joel Silver and Bruce Willis, who began rewriting the script right before production. Shane Black was furious. Every day he argued with Willis and Silver, begging them to stop butchering his work. Nobody listened. As a result, almost nothing remained of Black's original script. Shane Black had written a dark, violent thriller. One of the villains, Milo, had a much bigger role and was far more disturbing. His storyline involved an adult film studio and even murdering a family who witnessed a crime. All of this was removed. The entire second half of the film was rewritten. Willis and Silver replaced most of the action scenes and removed almost all the extreme violence. For example, in Black's version, Bruce Willis's wife was attacked with a chainsaw, which was later used to destroy her attackers. The ending was changed too. Originally, it took place on the water and was more action-heavy. Instead, it was rewritten to take place in a stadium and made more contained. It all becomes even funnier when you remember how Warner Bros. Got the script in the first place. Sony had offered Shane Black $2 million for The Last Boy Scout, but he chose Warner's offer of $1.7 million because he wanted to work with Joel Silver again after their great experience on Lethal Weapon. Shane Black is a fascinating guy. He is praised for Lethal Weapon, The Last Boy Scout, and Last Action Hero. But in all three cases, the studio rewrote his scripts heavily or replaced them almost entirely. Yes, he has The Long Kiss Goodnight, which survived relatively intact but it is still not on the same level as those earlier films. Later, he wrote and directed Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, then Iron Man 3 with its own problems, and then completely crashed and burned with his attempt to revive The Predator. Maybe Shane Black became the most expensive screenwriter of the 90s because of some cosmic alignment and was born under a lucky star? Soon after Shane Black, Damon Wayans also entered open conflict with Silver and Willis. As the constantly changing script evolved, his character suffered the most. He was written smaller and smaller, turning into a stereotypical comedic sidekick. Fed up with being ignored, Wayans started clowning around on set and sabotaging scenes. He hated Bruce Willis so much that their shared scenes required countless takes. Sometimes the tension escalated into literal fights. It is very possible that the anger on their faces in some scenes is not acting at all. Director Tony Scott also grew more furious every day and clashed constantly with Joel Silver. At one point, he even wanted to quit, but Silver threatened to destroy his career if he tried. In his next film, True Romance, Tony Scott invented the character Lee Donowitz, a cocaine-fueled, monstrous Hollywood producer who was obviously inspired by Silver. Tony Scott later told a story in an interview. According to him, one day the wig Bruce Willis used on set was assaulted by a stray cat who snuck into the dressing room. Since there was no time to get a new wig, the stylist patched together whatever was left and placed it on Willis's head. But given how angry Scott was at the time, this story may be at least partially exaggerated. The chaos on set reached such a level that one day the extras staged a full-blown riot. Because filming stopped constantly due to fights and conflicts, shooting days were often canceled or moved. But nobody informed the extras. After yet another delay that the extras were not told about, everyone who showed up was told that they would not be paid for the day. More than 100 furious extras attacked the assistant producers. The real Los Angeles SWAT team had to be called to break up the crowd. When filming wrapped, Tony Scott immediately left and refused to participate in editing. Bruce Willis and Joel Silver took control, and here comes the best part. Willis and Silver also managed to fall out with each other. Willis began refusing to work with Silver at all. Fox eventually had to remove Silver from future Die Hard films and pay a large penalty fee. The conflict began when Silver, without Willis' approval, hired legendary editor Stuart Baird to fix the movie after test screenings. Baird had previously saved Tango and Cash. On The Last Boy Scout, he heavily altered the structure and cut scenes Willis believed were among the best in the film. In later interviews, everyone who worked on the movie described it as the worst experience of their lives. Even composer Michael Kamen, who initially refused to score the film, eventually agreed only because Willis begged him, since the two were close friends at the time. Released in 1991, The Last Boy Scout was not a huge hit, but it was not a flop either. Critics dismissed it with lukewarm reviews, but audiences loved it. That was Frameback. See you on the next Rewind.